Welcome to Hellerup, a suburb around 8 kilometers north of Copenhagen, Denmark. I live with a host family on one of Hellerup's busiest streets called Strandvejen. For those of you who know Danish, yes, this is the beach street, and yes, it does lead to a beach. Because it is the beach street and because it is the main road leading from Copenhagen to its northern outskirts, it's a given that there are many cars on this street. But when passing through Strandvejen, there's a small park called Øregårds Parken. So many people pass by this park each day, and I wanted to learn more about the life here between all the busy streets and buildings. I had several interrelated research questions. In an area surrounded by one of the busiest streets and buildings, does an urban park get utilized and by whom, for what, and does it reconnect the locals with nature? I decided to first assess the park using the 12 urban quality tools and a combination of Jan Gehl Institute's tools of age, gender, and people moving count tools. So let's get started. Øregårds Parken is around 49,000 square meters. Back in the 19th century, it was a farm and private land that later became a public garden. It was inspired by the English landscape garden that counters the symmetrical, formal garden structure. So the perimeter of this park imitates a forest landscape and incorporates many different elements that make up the park. For example, there is an artificial canal in the center of the park with adjacent lawns that illuminate a river landscape. When looking at the 12 urban quality tools, there are 3 main categories: protection, comfort, and enjoyment. First, let's look at protection. When assessing the protection against traffic and accidents, you can see that the park is next to Strandvejen, but that there are various sidewalks alongside the park for easy access. The park is also protected by trees and plants growing on the fences that separate the main road from the park. The second category is comfort. Because of the park's diverse landscape and elements, there are numerous options for mobility, for sitting, seeing, talking or hearing, and for play, exercise, and other activities. There are smooth cement sidewalks that are suitable for pedestrians, strollers, wheelchairs, dogs, you name it. The grass is maintained and there is at least one bench for every 5 meters to sit and chat or people watch like me. And lastly, enjoyment. The park's scale is small enough to make you feel a sense of place. It's hard to get lost when you have the human-scale river at the center of the park. There are also many opportunities to enjoy the aesthetic qualities and positive aspects of this climate, such as seeing the early signs of spring, or playing soccer, fishing, feeding the birds, or intruding in on a duck date. But a forewarning that this may backlash. My observation took place from Monday, April 23rd to Friday, April 27th. I visited the park at various hours and weather conditions to observe and record the number of people, their genders, and their activities. Here's the data I gathered. These are my results out of the 140 people I observed that week. Most of the people were walking in the park, especially with strollers. Many engaged in other activities like fishing, feeding the birds, playing soccer, collecting flowers, rollerblading, or running. There were many bikers as always, and a lot of dogs. I recorded a total of 30 dogs with an average of 4 dogs per my 15-minute observation period. As you can see, many different age groups used the park, but with the most being adults between 25 to 64 years old. Then there were a lot of seniors, especially elderly couples taking a walk around the park or passing by the park with their groceries. Many of the toddlers were those in the strollers. Kids and young adults were mainly observed passing by after school or playing with friends during the weekends. The gender distribution of the park visitors were close to equal. More females were observed in the beginning of the week, but towards the latter half of the week, and especially during the national holiday on Friday, many males were observed. One disappointing conclusion was that a park with great urban quality and high utility does not necessarily lead to sustainable behaviors. I found a lot of trash around the park. It's true that getting people to value nature and directly connect it to their behaviors is one of the greatest societal challenges we face. What the frick? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh.